What's going on, good people? It is your boy DeMarcus. We're back with another episode. Man, shout out to all my asseteers out there, the ones that's really locked in with me from day one, and for the ones that haven't been tapped in, but now you are checking out the page. Nothing wrong with that at all. We appreciate everyone, and always really enjoy when people take the time to even check out my page and see what we're rocking with over here. This is for the multifaceted folks and the ones that may feel like left out, or you may not really be heard, and you may feel like an outsider, like you have a different type of perspective, but you're probably the one that pours into everybody, and you're always the one that just really goes out of your way, and it doesn't really seem as if you're appreciated as much or at all. This is for you. But for today's episode, I really want to talk to my fellas, but ladies, I'm sure this can definitely be a thing for y'all as well too. But I want to talk about how you can be with someone and establish a relationship, but it may not be something that is long-term. Like it may be like a short-term relationship, and maybe because of certain circumstances, things don't work out, but how to really appreciate that situation and honestly look at it from a great perspective, because it might even be, there's pretty high chances it can be way better than some relationships that you've been in or may be in. So I kind of go straight into it, but when you think about engaging with certain people and you think about just how life moves, you just oftentimes it's based on how you, like certain environments that you're in, you may base it off of going out and networking, and there may be like a set event that you'll be doing or going to that allows you to connect with people. But oftentimes I feel like some of the best connections can be the ones where you meet somebody in a random environment, something that's not expected. Maybe you are going to one of those events, but the way you meet somebody is a little bit off the record. Or it could be to where, you're flowing with someone and you have known them, and then the connection is good, everything's dope, but you may have points in your life change, or you may talk about certain things that you think it could work, but it may just make sense for the season that you're in. We're going to talk about all that, but to start the conversation, I think that oftentimes we can go into a lot of situations and expect it to be forever and wanting it to be forever. And I think oftentimes the reason we do that is because of what elders push us to think based on how some of them lived their lives or what was told to them, but that doesn't mean that everything was good within that. Like oftentimes you hear from a marriage standpoint that if you find somebody great, that's your lifelong partner, but to the extent to where many people could speak of it as if like it's a common thing to be able to spend the rest of your life with one person. And I think it's dope if people get to that point, but I think oftentimes you've heard it from a lot of people that speak of it that way, but they haven't lived those experiences. And so I think that oftentimes for the elders, they want to put you in a position to say you should find somebody and, you should be locked in with your person, and that's what it should be all about, which I agree. I think it's definitely dope if anybody's able to find someone they can see themselves in a relationship with. But what's even better is when people can actually be doing that and then give you the advice based on how they've moved. And again, there may not be, from a positive standpoint of them staying in a relationship. It could be like trials and tribulations that they experience, just letting you know what to look out after. But like, you got to be able to be real about your experience. But in being real, again, I think that it's always associated like the long-term piece, or if it's like you dating somebody and getting a relationship and it turns into marriage. I think the problem is that the long-term piece is just always what people look at. And I think that so many times we miss on the simple experiences that you can have with someone, or the short experiences, and those can actually be life-changing scenarios. Like for me as a guy, I can say when it comes to actual relationships that I've been in, I may have only been in like, I want to say 2 actual relationships in my life, and actually those were during college. I didn't even date when I was young. And as I've gotten older, like I haven't been technically in like an adult relationship where I'm with somebody for multiple years. It's more so been like, it's not actually like naming a relationship in the traditional sense, but it may be more so like me dating for longer periods of times, or me establishing a certain type of relationship with a woman. And let me kind of dive into that, because I know that if I don't explain what I'm trying to say, that it can cause confusion. But oftentimes, I feel like when you're dating someone, you can look at it as friends with benefits, and then you can, it's just like y'all do what y'all do, and that's it. Which I feel like it's kind of the same as being in a relationship with someone, but then still with boundaries. Because oftentimes, where like when it comes to the friends with benefits, if we're literally just involved just from a physical standpoint, eventually it's going to come to a point where it's not going to be able to work out. Because oftentimes I feel like when people do that, that's all that they're doing. Now I do think you can have relationships based on understanding that it is for a season, which you can still put it in the category of friends with benefits. But I feel like there's people that you can actually um, connect with on a dope level. And again, they can maybe both go together, but I kind of see them a bit differently. Um, because there may be someone that you could actually see yourself with, but just things don't align in the way that it should. So you really take the relationship for what it's worth. And I think that people don't really see it for that. And again, depending on how you define it, you could put friends with benefits into the same exact category. I just don't think many people do when they talk about it. So for the sake of the conversation, I'll kind of say it differently, but I more so really put friends with benefits into this relationship type of category. But it's understanding where you're at in life, understanding your boundaries and your principles the same way you would do if you're going to actually, be in a traditional relationship with someone. But this is where you're attracted to each other on different levels. This is where you see this is somebody that you can be with, but there's just maybe like religion and other factors involved, or it could be location or however, but you still treat it as if it's a value. You know what I'm saying? You treat it kind of like it is a relationship, but you don't allow yourself to get, really as emotionally involved as you would a relationship. Now, and me saying that, it probably sounds wild because many people try to demonize that, but many people can be in situations where, again, they just messing with whoever. They ain't creating no type of personality um, uh, connection. They haven't created any type of emotional connection. But think about it. Like, what if you meet someone where they're super dope and you meet them in a season where you're going through a similar thing? They're going through changes, or they just come off of a relationship, or whatever it is. And like, how you connect with that person is so dope. There's someone that if certain things were in place, you can see yourself with them. I feel like if you don't allow yourself to experience that in life, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Because oftentimes I feel like those type of relationships can really prepare us for what's best to come, and who our true partner is. Now that's no diss to those folks. You can't actually diss it to anybody, because even if on the other side, if I'm in a relationship like that, and you know what I'm saying, like it would be a diss to me, you know what I'm saying, like in how I worded it. But the point that I'm saying is, like, you can't diss anybody for doing it, because if two people are in a situation, both of them are deciding to go about it that way. But I think that oftentimes, like at least in my doing of that, it allowed me to really understand what I could look for in a partner. It allowed me to really love that moment and appreciate that moment without any type of extra pressures or other things going on. It allowed me to be able to have a mutual understanding of where I was at. And then that created space for me to be able to learn, because there's maybe not as many pressures and stuff. Like, it allowed me just to be free. Now, obviously, there's going to be parts where, you can't expect the other person not to be dating. You can't expect the other person to, if it's having sex, or, them to have certain boundaries as far as like, things that they can do, or whatever. Like, they're not meant to prioritize you, but they don't have to. You might come across somebody that's just like, hey, I only date one person, and you can do what you do. And obviously, in that type of situation, you're not going to be reckless. You'd hope you wouldn't, but I feel like really when you're in those type of situations as well, where like one person is super cool with anything, and they only date one person at a time. If you're somebody that has like a real true like heart in you, like, I'm not saying that you're not going to mess with anybody else, but you wouldn't even want to take advantage of that and just being absolutely reckless, because that just means that you just, like, in my thought process, like, you're taking advantage of somebody. But if you have a few situations or whatever it is, and it's like you're not just trying to run from something, I think that changes the whole perspective and the whole dynamic in a good way like that. You're just saying I'm living life, but I'm not out here moving as if like nothing's there, or I'm not moving as if like I can't, live without it, whatever. Like you're just enjoying life. So for me, I think that those relationships again are the best ones, and oftentimes like it may not even be where it starts off physical, or it may not even be physical like that, because you can be in different environments, and oftentimes like if people even associate friends with benefits and stuff with like it having to be overly physical. Like, I mean, obviously at some point you're going to get intimate with the person, but I think the process of getting to know somebody can be really, really dope, because you're just learning, you're in similar spaces, or you're just talking about life in a way as they're a friend. But then you're also being real about where you're at, and you're allowing that traction to flow. So, excuse me. So for me, being in those type of situations, like as I was saying, this allowed me to truly understand what I like in a woman, what I love in a woman, and in those experiences, especially depending on depending on the dynamic, like it's going to be a woman or women that I can be able to truly appreciate. Like I'm the type of guy, like if I'm in a relationship with a woman, and then we part ways and we live our lives, like I don't need to feel bitter on that. If I'm feeling bitter, then that means it's something that I was really wanting outside of that, and it didn't happen in the way that I wanted. But I can't be bitter. You're going to have feelings. You're going to have like feel a bit sad. You're going to feel like, dang, like I can't believe they ended. But eventually, it's going to come to a point to where you relieve that, and you get more so happy for the person. But now this is somebody that you have a connection with, and if it's been on the same page for where y'all are, then it shouldn't be no type of a weirdness or just like awkwardness or whatever. That's unless that there was some type of underlying feelings that somebody hadn't didn't communicate. But it should be real cool. Like you ain't gonna talk every single day like you did, of course, but it should be like, hey, if you got a relationship, meaning like a partnership with someone with a job, or if you could reach out regarding like how to live up, whatever you got going on, and it be like a friend type of situation like that, that's the best stuff. And again, like as I'm even speaking, I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, that's still crossing boundaries, and most people don't do it like that or whatever. But at the end of the day, this is because people just have an immaturity. And I know for me as a guy, like if I'm in a situation where I've had a past with a woman, and I've been in this many times, like I'm not even going to be on that type of time. And especially like if she's someone that's just like cool, like that's disrespectful for me to even try to like holler at her dude or whatever. I just don't play like that, because I just think that it's just weird. And especially if I've like moved on as it is, and I didn't see, it be compatible where we can be in a relationship anyways, like I've already said from the jump where I was at. So that would just be weird behavior. Like even with women friends I have where there's literally no relationship at all, like I'm not on no weird type of time. Like if they have a problem that they're going through, I don't even like getting into relationship stuff with my friends anyways. This is like, hey, hope you're good. I'll be there for support overall, but like I'm not about to get into your relationships, because one, I think that's disrespectful for me to even have any type of like say so when you got a guy you can talk that out with. Like, if it's more so something where you're just like feeling down and you're just like, hey, I just, this life's just kind of chaotic. Like, hey, can you pray for me? Something like that. Cool. You don't even have to tell me what it is, but like to go in and tell you like, what your dude is should do and should do. Like, no. Like, but if I see where a friend is the same way, if one of my boys is down because a woman is treating him, crazy, like then I got to stand up, because then somebody's got to tell you like you're being disrespected. Like that's not right. But people got to make their own decisions. So yeah, for me, when it comes to the relationships where you can enjoy time with somebody, enjoy a season with somebody, and not being long term, like I look at that as so beautiful, because imagine somebody being able to show you things or sharing parts about life that you didn't have before. Like that's literally going to change the trajectory for how you see a person that you want to be with. Even in my example earlier, like not everyone gets married. Not every marriage lasts forever. Some people are just in a partnership where they're just in the same way in which I'm talking. They said that's their life partner. They may not even move like the government says, in regards to how they get married. Everybody wants to have someone. Everybody wants to feel as if they're loved in a certain type of way. So in what I just explained, that would be those situations anyways, especially if somebody doesn't want to go about it traditionally. So I think the biggest thing that I've learned is working on overthinking. And I've been in relationships where, like, you have an understanding, and then the woman would do something that just throws you left, and you're just like, you said you wasn't going to put me in this position, or you said that you would, like, let me know, we'd have a conversation before you decided to do whatever. Like, especially if you're holding me to the same type of standards, or if you're bringing that to me directly before I even have a chance to say it, like, I'm definitely going to hold you to that, because you're the one that brought the situation to me, and you're going against that. But other than that, like, if people can just be real and honest about where they're at, what do you have to lose? And I also look at it as, you can't lose time, or you can't lose out on the right person, because I feel as if there's one thing that I've learned too, especially in my 20s. I'm 29 now. I'm about to be 30 in a couple months. But, I've realized that, and this is kind of my theory, but I think you miss out on the right person, or you something would happen to where you wouldn't see that person if you were just on some trash behavior. If you have somebody in your life that is truly a valuable person, and you playing with that, and you making it seem as if it's like they just gonna be there forever, and you just really being a dog, or you just being like trashy, yeah, I think that goes into that example. But I think if you're learning yourself, moving through life, and you're getting out of your comfort zone, and you're just trying things as they come along, and you're learning along the way, I think you're running to your person in different seasons. I feel like, depending on the season that you're in, like, you can find multiple compatible people that could be your long-term partner, or somebody that you can marry, because I feel that we all have multiple multiple soulmates. I think it really just depends on the season that we're in to see who's going to be the most compatible. I think, yeah, we all may be in that, like, there may be that one person that you are meant to be with long term. But I think, based on your experiences and based on what you've learned and unlearned, that will help you to get to find that. But you can't turn away the other dope seasons that you've had and make it seem as if it's like, by getting here, that like, this was just, I guess, the only situation that got you there. Like, depending on your dating and stuff like that, like, that's going to more so set you. And for some people, it's like, hey, you've always had bad experiences dating, and then you finally found the one. But you have to also realize, it's like, did you actually find the one, or did you finally change things that you needed to attract those people? Either way, like, there's going to be work that has to be put in by an individual. And I feel like if you're putting in the work, you'll find yourself in that place. That's why, for me, when it comes to relationship, like, I haven't been in a lot of relationships. Sometimes I think it's kind of, honestly, weird when somebody's, like, in tons of, like, traditional relationship. When I say traditional, I'm just like, hey, we're boyfriend and girlfriend. I think it's kind of weird when some people, like, are in many of those. And it's not weird, but, like, I think also too, like, some people have been in really long relationships. And I think a big thing is, even for either one of those, it's like, just because you've been in a relationship don't mean it's been good. Just because you were in it for a long period of time doesn't mean you learn much, or it doesn't mean that you stayed. Like, I mean, that you because you stayed, that it was right. Yeah, you can be at a job for 10 years, and then you can still learn nothing and get complacent. And somebody else can come in a year and then get way further than you. I think oftentimes we associate relationships by how long we've been in them. We associate it with, like, the time that we spent with someone, the amount of experience we got sexually and stuff like that. But that doesn't do anything, because with anything, if you stay too long when you know it's time to move on, all you're doing is just wasting time at that point. And that's truly wasted time, because that's stopping you from being able to go out there and get what you're worth, from you being able to make the adjustments on you. Now you're just wasting time. But if you're too naive, or if you're too stubborn to allow yourself to open that up, you always be in the same situations. So, like, just know for myself, if I'm in something where, again, it could be friendships, no, I'm talking about just in general, like friendships with whoever, like, if I feel that I'm not growing as an individual and I feel as if like conversations are the same still and it's being complacent, and then when I'm talking about stuff and there's no support, but then people supporting everybody else, I can't do it and I won't do it, because then I'm just wasting time giving energy to people that I know aren't going to make any type of adjustments. It's totally different if we establish boundaries and then our friendship or relationship or whatever is meant to be where it's at. But like, when the expectation indirectly is more so focused on me, or when people want to be put in certain places and they're not actually putting in the effort to align with what title they want our whatever situation to be, friendship, relationship, whatever, then again, that's lame. So, so yeah, for myself, like I said, I've been in, I'm gonna keep saying non-traditional to make the conversation easier, but like, as far as again going into boyfriend girlfriend, I've only been in a couple, but I know as far as from my dating experience with the other types of relationships I've been in, again, like even how some of them went, like it's something petty that or something that I may have experienced from the other side, and then sometimes it can have been me as well, like been me maybe not being ready, or me maybe not. I won't say maybe, like it's I've had a time before as far as me not being ready, or because there's like distance there, and the distance affecting the being ready, and then also as far as just like where I'm on my life as I'm growing. But that doesn't mean that the situation, as far as for the woman, is a terrible person. I've had some situations where a woman would do, like I said, something messed up. Hey, at the end of the day, it's like you did something messed up. Like, I can't F with you, but that don't mean I got to look at the situation as being terrible or have to trash you, because if I'm continuously growing and leveling up, like, that just moves to the past. And then, as I'm continuing to evolve, like, I'll meet somebody else, or I'll be able to do other things in my life where relationship is just, it is what it is. Like, I just think oftentimes that we can just so focus on so much of what the person did and all that. And I'm not saying again that can't happen in a relationship. Like, it won't be emotional. Like, that can definitely be a toll. But I think in some situations we're in, especially when it was like there was some really dope elements, but you grew through it, that's the biggest piece. And so, like, if that old version of me, if I've grown tremendously outside of that and I've been able to take whatever with me, I'm winning regardless of what somebody else does. And that's the thing. It's like when you're truly growing while you're in those situations, even if you're in a traditional relationship or a marriage, if you're actually growing within it, I feel that if something were to happen, or if things had a drastic change, like, that wouldn't be your drastic change, especially if it was more so something that somebody else did. Like, if they did you wrong, did you dirty, like, if you're truly growing within yourself and leveling up, man, however they move will just be such a thing of the past. Like, you'll be living on cloud nine. And hey, I've been living that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just be able to live your life to the fullest, enjoy where you're at, but more importantly, when you keep putting that work in, it just allows you just to be in a position that's just totally different. And to the point where, like, how people moved in the past, you're going to think about it from time to time. You're going to have those frustrations. You may even have replays where it comes back and you feel frustrated, but and you're going to keep looking ahead and be like, man, I'm in such a zone, I'm in such a space, like I'm so leveled up. And you even thinking about that, or if you've seen the person, you can just be like, hello, hey, how you doing? Hopefully all is well. And I'll do a really good job of that, because however you treat me and what type of love you show me and appreciation, I'm going to truly recognize that. I'm not going to blow anybody off. I'm not going to make it seem like somebody in my life didn't do this or this or that. If you show me great energy, that's something that I can't wait to show appreciation back for. But the minute that you do me wrong, in a way to where it's you going against who you are, you lying, you betrayal, or whatever it is, I'm the type to where I'm going to sit in it, and it's going to take me a good amount of time. And I'm telling you, when I actually live within the situation and actually take it for what it's worth and sit in that and deal with that hurt or that pain, because I sit in it, when I'm done, I'm done. And it's no bitterness or jaded type of done. It's like I've already got through the frustration and I'm leveling up. Like if I'm doing that and leveling up, it's a game time, because at the end of the day, I know that my value is so high, and I know that I'm so dope of a person that it's not about being cocky, but it's saying I can't allow myself to sit in that situation and self-sabotage, because I'm worth way more than that. And I'm somebody where people used to do me a certain type of way or whatever. If it's going out on a date, then a woman, she standing me up or doing me dirty. Like, I've been, not that she's not showing up to the date, but I'm saying like, eventually like she's, not getting back to me or whatever. Like, there'll be times I get frustrated with that. The way friends will move or treat me and acknowledge a thing in a certain type of way, I'll be frustrated about that. But when I learned how to stop focusing on that and continue to level up in my own right and actually live and have experiences and allow the way that I experience to shine and not let other people be opinionated, man, life changed for me beautifully, and it's gotten even better and better and better. Because oftentimes there's these relationships that I'm talking about, many people are going to tell you not to do it. Many people are going to tell you that you should do it another type of way. Many people are going to tell you that this, and that. They're going to tell you that, it's whatever. But many people ain't got your lived experience. So for me, when I'm moving how I'm moving, and especially I know how it is as far as the realness that I portray and the authenticity that I have. If I'm dating a woman, I'm going to let her know exactly where I'm at. I want to be respectful and keep her updated on where I'm at. So at the end of the day, if I can be real and raw about that, and she appreciates that, and she wants to be in whatever type of relationship with me, if I'm real and raw about where I'm at, I'm not lying, and I can present that, and she appreciates that, and she's doing the same, there's no loss there. Because we've shared the boundaries, and as a man specifically, I've been able to say where I'm at, what things are going to be, and then she's listening to me, and she said that I want to be a part of that. You can't lose. But it all comes down to respect and authenticity, and the only thing that I want to do is be my best self, be my most authentic self, and just take things how they are. I've had to where, because of my honesty, women have said no. Women weren't interested in this and that. They weren't interested in moving forward with a relationship because it's not where they were, or on the opposite end, which is a bit more, they maybe not be interested in just having fun or a good time. I can get pissed off about that. Why would I get pissed off and mad? It's not the only woman in the world. It's not going to be the most beautiful woman I ever talked to, or it's not going to be the only dope woman I'm going to meet. Because if I'm doing something against where I'm truly at, if I just get into a relationship because I feel like I'm going to lose out on someone, I'm eventually going to hurt this person because I wasn't truly invested in it. I moved off of emotion. I was being reactionary versus actually me saying, I'm going to level up and be my best version and allow things to happen naturally. I'm trying to force it. It's never going to work out. And plus, if I'm working on me and doing what's best for me and allowing life to show up in its own way, allowing God to do what he does, it's going to be super fire. And we just have all these like books or these terminologies or just social construct way of thinking where it makes it feel as if everything's got to be textbook. And nobody has answers. Nobody can have a fully right answer. All these elders and stuff that tell us, it's got to be this way, that way, this way, that way. Like, we got to start looking at people's lives and say, does it really, really make sense? So even for some younger folks that may be moving in this type of way and tell you got to do this and that, or you ain't on the right path, how is your life shaping up? Just because you got money don't mean anything. Just because you go to church all the time don't mean anything. Just because just because you don't do anything, smoking weed, drinking, or anything that nobody else does, doesn't mean that you living your best life. Just because you ain't done none of that and then you never had sex before. Okay. You're doing a lot of things that God would appreciate, but that's from what you're telling me, what I maybe can see. But you could be doing all this other stuff over here that's way worse than that. So it's all about being your true, authentic self and being real about where you're at, especially when you meet someone or meet people when you're dating. If you keep it honest, I'm telling you, there's so much you can learn from those. Where oftentimes those are the best relationships that we can ever be in. Everybody's not going to get married. Everybody's not meant to be married, but we are meant to be able to enjoy life and be able to enjoy people, build connections, and love and enjoy life in the best way. And again, I know people ain't even going. A lot of people may not agree with this episode or think about it in that way. I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to share about my life and share what probably plenty of people go through but don't want to talk about. But at the end of the day, it has worked for me. It has been great for me. There's been downfalls and there's been like I said, BS moments, but where I can see that I'm at and where my life is going and how it's flowing, I think it's been amazing. I think that I'll run into my person eventually. Hey, if I don't get married, then I just got to keep living life and doing the other things that I'm here to do. Because getting married and some of these other things, like, these are just additions to our life. It don't say in the Bible, it don't say in the Quran, I'm sure, and don't say in other texts that you have to get married. If you don't get married, then you will not go to heaven. You will go to hell. If it said that, everybody would be rushing to get married. The lines would be like when people's out here going to sneaker stores and doing the sweepstakes for shoes. Everybody would be in line for that if that was the case. It's not. And many people have lived great, successful lives, have lived plenty of life without stress. Many people have been able to live great lives by not being married, by being married, having a lot of friends, not having a lot of friends. Like, there's so many scenarios. But when it works for you, if it truly does work for you, that's what it's all about. And if whoever you're dating or whoever you're around can agree with that, that's what it's about. So it's your boy DeMarcus, man. This is another episode of The Life of a Multifacet. If you get a chance to tune in, make sure you check out my Instagram page, That Man Marco, and my food page, Mashing Up with Marco. Both of those are also on TikTok. And then my YouTube page is The Life of a Multifacet. And make sure you tap in with your boy. I'm going to have a lot more skincare content, freestyles, and all that coming. But yeah, make sure you leave a comment and share this with your people. Like, comment, and subscribe. And y'all know how we do, man. We up out of here. Peace.